Hey YouTube, it's Landon with the Order of the Traveling Hats, and today we've got something just a little bit different going on. I'm in my office instead of the garage. Today I'm kind of programming the repeater network for the local area into our Wouxun KG-1000G radio that we bought and installed previously. If you guys want to go check that out, I'll post a link right here. Feel free to go watch that and then come back to the channel here on this video so you can see how we kind of programmed it and how we're going to use it. Now the reason we're in the office today is because I've done something a little bit different and I need to show you kind of some of the software and a few other things that we've done. So we're going to get on the computer now. I'm going to show you that. Okay, so we're on the computer now and we're just going to show you what I'm doing to get all these repeaters located. I started out looking for repeaters in Arkansas where I live and found the My GMRS website pretty quickly. I had bought some things from them. In fact, this is where I purchased my radio. You can get a free account. All you have to do is get your FCC license because it does require you to enter your call sign and verify it. But basically, they've got a pretty extensive network of repeaters all over the US. You can see them all, just these, each one represents, a certain number of repeater. And if you scroll in, or zoom in rather, it gives you this kind of green bubble of how far each repeater is supposed to reach. You can click on it, it'll show you the frequency that it's on, and then you can add 5 hertz to get the offset. It gives you the output and input tones, whether or not it's an open or closed system. It gives you the approximate range of when it was last updated. Also, there's a mechanism over here where you can put your requests in for closed systems to get access. So it's a pretty nice one-stop shop resource that has most of the repeaters on it. There's another resource, for Arkansas anyway, it's the Arkansas Repeater Network. I'm going to post a link to both of these in the description below. I'm not sponsored by either one, but they were really helpful for me for this project. So what I did was basically got the Wouxun software and started to make a frequency fill for myself using all of these repeaters. So I was able to basically put the frequencies in, the decode and encode frequencies, and set that up for each one and put the name in for each repeater, and did that. We got rid of the normal repeater frequencies because they really aren't going to be that useful, because I'm not going to actually have anything programmed into those. So for this particular fill, I'm just going to simplify it because I've got all the repeaters that are in my local area already programmed, so I don't think I'll have to add any manually. So I just didn't even have those available. We can always go and add those back in if we want to. It's not a big deal, not very hard to do. This software is pretty complete. It actually allows you to save this fill as a file. And you can save obviously as many files as you want, so that allows us to make different fills for an individual trip if we only want to have a few repeaters in there that are going to be exactly where we're going to be working. If we're traveling cross country, we could put in the repeaters that we're going to encounter in order and be able to switch between those as we move along. So there's actually a lot of versatility here. I think it's going to be a really nice piece of software to have around and a way to keep the radio up to date with whatever we happen to be doing at the time. So if we get that out of the way and we come back over here, this shows us where all these repeaters are, which is helpful because you need to be within range of the repeater for it to be able to work. But unfortunately, when we're out and about in the Jeep, we don't have internet access a lot of the times, and we wouldn't be able to pull this website up to help us. So what I did, and what I think the gist of this video is to show you what you can do at home, is I use Gaia GPS, and I basically took each one of those repeaters and found where it was on the map and then dropped a waypoint. So now I can load these waypoints into my phone, tablet, and use them with Apple CarPlay in the Jeep to be able to know where I am in relation to one of these repeaters, so I can make a decision on which one to tune up and when, depending on where we are. I think this will be really helpful, and I can add to it as we travel out of the state into Tennessee, Missouri, etc., and add repeaters as we go and build a more extensive network of repeaters on this map as I start to use them. That will be helpful for us moving forward. So I think that's it for the setup on the software. What I want to do now is go out to the Jeep and load this fill in and show you how that works, so we can kind of finish this up for the day. Okay, so the first thing we got to do is take down the cover to the PC port, the data port. I'm going to go ahead and move my sunglasses case out of the way. And there's a data port there that's essentially a, looks like a Cat5 port, and that's what the patch cable that you buy from Wouxun comes with. So the cable, it's branded as an Wouxun cable right there and says that it is a Windows 10 support or compatible. It's got the Cat5 connector on one end and a USB connector on the other end, and will hook into a Windows PC. The Wouxun software only runs on a Windows PC, so that's what you've got to use. So what we're going to do is basically just take this cable, try to do this one-handed here, and plug it in to the radio. It clicks in, and then we've got slack down here so that we can get the laptop, or the tablet rather, this is a tablet, booted up with the USB cable hooked into it. It's going to look something like that, and we're going to turn the laptop on and let it come up. It's going to want to do that. We're going to actually not let it, there we go. Okay, so I've already got this kind of open to the Wouxun software. As you can see, it's fairly straightforward software. So this is a fill that we loaded. Basically, to do that, you just take your mouse, and I can show you inside. You go up here to open, and you can load a fill. I just have a fill file and a folder on this tablet now that I can store multiple fills for different regions that we're going to be in. We can put as many different fills as we want, load them at will. So the first thing I'm going to do is read from the radio, and failed connection. Well, that's interesting. Well, that didn't work. I got an error message, as I think I showed you, that we had a failure to communicate with radio. I couldn't read any of the data currently on it, nor could I write to it. I wasn't really sure what the problem was. I thought it might be a bad cable. I don't think it is. That cable's brand new. The driver should be basically on the cable. I thought maybe it was a driver issue and started doing a little bit of research and came across this. This is off the buytwowayradios.com website. They've got a blog, and they've actually got a blog post about how to install the Wouxun programming cable and driver. Basically, there's a problem with Windows 10. Somewhere along the way when they updated it, it no longer works with the Silicon Labs USB driver in the driver list. There's a way to fix that, and this particular website, which I'm going to post a link to in the description below, will tell you how to do that step by step. They do make a big note to tell you that the driver included with the disc that you get from them when you order the cable does not have the proper driver on it, and you'll actually need to go and download the driver from this link here that I'm also going to post, which is basically their page for the cable and driver set. You can just go to the downloads tab here and download this, and then basically you have to install it. Although you need to use the installer that is included in the zip file, they kind of go through that and tell you that you need to do that to alleviate any more problems. So I've done all of that. I hope this works. We're going to go back out to the Jeep now and try again for take two, and then we'll finally close up with some final thoughts, and hopefully this all works and I can show you how it works in the Jeep. So we're back out here in the backyard now in the Jeep. We're going to try to show you how to load a fill into the radio, and I'm going to show you first by backing up the radio. So what we've done is I've already had it read the radio here. So this is just the factory setup with the factory channels. Everything's factory. So all we're going to do now is just save that to our folder, to our GMRS fills, and I'm just going to put default in. and we're going to call that default. I think that's really critical. You always want to have the default just go back to if we want to reset it to factory defaults for whatever reason. So now what we're going to do is just go up here to the open, and open up the Black Jeep fill _ Arkansas. That's the fill that I've been working on that's got all the repeaters around here. So we're going to open that. It's going to open, and now as you can see over here, we've got all of our repeaters that we've been working on. There's quite a few of them. And now all we're going to do is go up to write, and we're going to write that. Right now we're going to hit write on that. And at the bottom you can see we get a blue status bar going across. On the radio we get the communications on data message on the radio, and it's writing, and it seems to be working, and when it gets done it's going to reset the radio. It'll reboot and our fill should be there. So it's almost done. There it goes. It says write OK on the screen, and the radio just reset. Yep. And so there we go, write OK. So well, that does it. I just wrote to the radio and it set everything up. So we've got our repeaters up here now. I can scroll through them. We can go back down through the GMRS channels here. You can easily see that we've got all of our channels still in. And as we go past 22, instead of just going to the repeater channel with a number, now I've got them all named. I actually took the generic repeaters out because they aren't really repeaters, because they aren't programmed with any kind of code, and while they will transmit on that frequency for a repeater, you can't really use them without putting a code in. So we've just named these repeaters for the different repeaters that are around in our area, and then as I showed you previously, I have put a waypoint for each one of these repeaters into Gaia GPS, complete with the information about the repeater frequency, its CTCSS code, or DTC code, whichever, and its approximate range, if that is known, if I can find the range. So when I'm out navigating and driving through the state, I'll kind of be able to use Gaia GPS to show me what repeaters are nearby, and then we can tune that repeater up if we need a repeater. This is helpful for everything in the state. Obviously, I'll probably keep these all the time, but then as I showed you, we can make as many different fills as we want to, so as we start to venture out of the state and want to be able to use repeaters along our route, we can research that ahead of time, come up with a fill, and install it on the radio before we leave. And that'll set us up for anywhere we want to go, pretty much, that has GMRS repeaters. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. I hope that you learned something. I certainly did, especially the issue we had with the cable. You do need to get the updated driver. You can get that on buy2wayradios.com, and again, I'm putting a link down to that in the description. They've got a nice little description on their website about how to update the driver, and if you just follow those instructions, you'll be okay, but that is something to watch out for. The radio so far has worked great. I really do like this radio. It's got a lot of broadcast power. It receives crystal clear. I've been able to hear people that are pretty good distance away pretty easily. So that's going to close us up. So like and subscribe if you liked this content. And I'm Landon, and this is Order the Traveling Hats, and we hope to see you guys out there.